Grace and peace to the friends and community of Eastminster Presbyterian Church in East Lansing, Michigan. I am Director of Christian Education Neil Meyer and joined by Elder Jim Robertson, and we're going to have a little chat today about what's been happening in these pandemic times with our work with Advent House. Jim has long time been the coordinator of our monthly meal at Advent House, and Jim, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Neil.
So, Jim, in normal times, we know that we've invited folks from the congregation to prepare a meal, drop it off at Eastminster, and then servers from the church have been taking it to serve at Advent House on the second Saturday of the month. What's been happening with that during this time of coronavirus?
Well, so far we have been donating money out of some funding that the Mercy, Peace, and Justice team had. I consulted with Susan Cancro, who's the executive director of Advent House, and she explained how they were using the money because they have to maintain their social distancing with their clients. There are a lot of clients that have to stay put in other shelters around the city of Lansing and greater Lansing area. And as many of our congregation knows, Advent House is one of the very few organizations that has a weekend shelter with meals for people who need that. And so ordinarily, as you said, we cook meals, 10 casseroles, fruit and cookies, and have servers that serve. And Susan said that the money that we can add, instead of having the usual program, will help them purchase meals, help the staff get them to who needs them, because they have to maintain their social distancing and safety precautions. And so they've been buying a variety of meals from places like Subway that have healthy food choices. And actually the response from their clients has been very, very positive, because it's sort of a new variety of things to eat for them.
We've seen so many local restaurants or even chain restaurants advertising their drop-off or takeout or contactless delivery, and that applies to even serving our neighbors who are hungry. And so I'm glad to hear that they've been making some adjustments in that to lower the number of different people that have to be involved, but still able to serve meals to those in need. So what's the best way for our congregation to help in this ongoing endeavor to love our neighbors at Advent House?
Well, the typical cost for a cook to go out to Meijer, Kroger, wherever, and purchase the materials for one of 4 casseroles that we rotate, fresh fruit, and 1 or 2 dozen cookies, depending on your thrift and desire to splurge, is between $25 and $35. So it's about 2 hours of a person's time under normal conditions. And we would like to think that people who would like to help us continue this tradition of serving these meals once a month at Advent House would be willing to write a check, put Advent House in the subject line, and send it to Eastminster for $25, $30, $35 once a month. And that way we continue what has been at least a 30-year program. I took it over in late spring of 2016 from Muggy Quinn. And at that time, when she handed over the procedures and the recipes and the logistics and how to handle things, which is actually was extremely well organized by Maggie, but she said this was her 25th year. So I am in my 5th year, and people who have been members for the church longer than me indicate that it goes back a little further into the 80s than Maggie's 25 years. But we've always had enough cooks, maybe one short, maybe one late. We've always managed to have servers, and when we don't have enough servers, or when I miss serving sometimes, I'll help out by serving, and that's a very valuable, and it's a learning experience, it's a faith experience, it's a giving experience, and I'll admit sometimes I dread an early Saturday morning, but after I've done the work and helped cook the meals and serve them, it reminds me of who we are and who we help.
Thank you for continuing this tradition with your gifts of time and coordination. We thank all of our regular servers and meal providers, as they have done for so many years at Eastminster, to help provide this meal once a month at Advent House. And we're grateful for the ability to continue that work even in this time, in the way that Advent House finds most beneficial to serve our neighbors who are hungry and need those meals on weekends. And so one more time, Jim, if you wouldn't mind sharing the best way to give in this time.
Well, the best way is to send a check written out to Eastminster Presbyterian Church, send it to the church, but in the subject line put Advent House Meal, for anywhere for $25 to $35. Advent House, over the years, has had more and more difficulty funding these things because of the drop in federal monies. One of their major benefactors, among others, other than church organizations, is the city of Lansing, and they've had to decrease somewhat their support. So anything that we can do as a congregation is important for Advent House and their weekend shelter program, their child learning programs. I'd encourage anyone from our congregation to go to their website and see all the great work they do.
Thank you, Jim. And as one additional plug related to Advent House, for any golfers that might be watching this video and learning, Advent House does plan, and Northwest Minster Presbyterian does plan to host their Hope in One golf outing this year, even in the time of coronavirus. And so they got that word out last week. So if you are a golfer and want to help raise funds for Advent House that way, the first Wednesday of August will be the date at College Fields Golf Course in East Lansing. And you can contact the church for more information to sign up to participate in that. So lots of ways to still serve and help. Jim, thanks for shedding some light on our ongoing mission work with Advent House and how we are continuing to help our neighbors in need during this time of coronavirus. We appreciate the work you do.
Well, thank you for the opportunity, Neil. It's an important project that we do, and it's a gift that we get by doing it.